We're running short on diapers. But if you need me to stay—" No, go on. I'll be fine." "I'm not worried about you," Zane said with a laugh. "This guy doesn't know what he's in for." He ambled off with a grin and a wave. His footsteps had only just faded into the distance when Cole heard a car heading up the driveway. He secured the stable door and headed around to the front of the house. Showtime. Josh resisted the urge to hug his bag to his chest and wondered if he looked as pathetic as he felt. From the lascivious looks the cab driver kept giving him through the rearview mirror, he was masking his feelings pretty well. Wasn't that what acting was all about? Showing people what they wanted to see? He turned his attention to the view out the window. They were deep into the countryside. He hadn't seen a house for miles. It felt like they'd been driving for hours. "Is it much farther?" he asked, hiding a shudder as his words drew the driver's eyes back to him. "We're almost there," the driver assured him. Not that arriving at his destination was much preferable to this car journey. Stewart had made it very clear that this was Josh's only option. His agent had walked him to the cab, promising him every step of the way that the 4 weeks would fly by. Josh knew the time was as likely to crawl as it was to fly, especially for him. He'd said as much, but Stewart had been very firm that this was necessary. The last few weeks had really done a number on Josh's reputation. He'd been dropped from 2 upcoming movies, and 3 roles he'd been shortlisted for had fallen through. Not exactly unexpected, given that clips of him having sex with a married alpha actor were all over the internet. He shuddered again at the recollection, swallowing the bile that rose in his throat at the flashes of memory from that night. "Okay back there?" the driver asked, and Josh realized he'd closed his eyes. "Fine," he said, blinking them open. "It's just a little motion sickness." "You're not going to throw up in my cab, are you?" "Wouldn't dream of it," he promised, his attention back on the scenery. It was only 4 weeks. 4 weeks where he could keep his head down and repair his image. Stewart had promised that by the time Josh got home, he'd have his next role lined up for him, something big. So what if Josh had to spend a month surrounded by a bunch of feral kids? He'd weathered worse. "This is it," the driver said as they turned into a driveway. Josh looked on with interest as they followed a winding path surrounded by tall trees. The trees finally parted, and the house came into view, though house was overstating it. It was more of a cottage, single-story and run down. Not at all what he was expecting. How could they fit a group of kids in such a tiny space? Surely they'd all be right on top of each other. As they slowed to a stop, a man rounded the corner of the house. Tall and dark-haired, wearing a sleeveless shirt that showed off his muscles. Alpha, clearly. He stopped and watched their arrival, a blank look on his face, and his arms crossed. There'd be no friendly welcome here. He waited a minute to see if anyone else would emerge from the house, but no one came. Reluctantly, his instincts telling him something wasn't right, he pushed open the cab door and climbed out. The driver already had the trunk open and was lifting his bags out. Josh plastered a friendly smile on his face and waved at the unapproachable Alpha. Maybe the driver had steered them wrong? This did not look like a kid's home. "Hi, I'm Joshua. I think maybe we're in the wrong place." "No, this is it," the Alpha said shortly. He glanced past Josh to the driver. "Those your bags? Better grab them and come with me." Sure." The driver held out his bags, and Josh hurried over to grab them. He slung one over his shoulder and hefted the other into his hands. "Good luck," the driver said with a grin, giving the Alpha a salute and heading back to his car. Josh's stomach sank as he took in the Alpha waiting impatiently for him, all but tapping his foot on the ground and glaring pointedly at his non-existent watch. He took a few steps forward and heard the cab's engine come to life behind him, the car quickly turning around and driving away. The Alpha looked him up and down again, his gaze lingering on Josh's bags. "You don't travel light, do you?"